Good afternoon and welcome to Porterhouse and Teal, episode 127. We've been gone a while, right?
We have been gone.
We've been gone a while.
Yeah, we've been gone a while. And we decided to jump in here this afternoon and share a few thoughts on not a live, but it's just a recording that we're doing. And yeah, how have you been, Rebecca?
I've been doing good. Just working around here and trying to keep up with the grandkids, trying to keep up with you. That's always a challenge for me.
Yeah.
You have a lot more energy than I would say I do. But I would say that both of us are quite productive in the morning.
Why would you say that I have more energy than you?
Because you're hard to keep up with.
But why do you think that is? What is it? Something about my nature? Is it you're just a more less active person, or what do you think that is?
I would say I'm probably more of a passive person. You're more of I don't want to say aggressive, but you kind of are aggressive.
Yeah,
but more motivated.
Yeah, I would say that I'm a lot more type A, and I don't know. I'm driven. I'm very goal oriented, and so yeah, I think you keep up pretty well, though.
However, I do believe that that's what makes us tick, because I'm a little slower, you're a little faster, and somewhere we meet in the middle.
Yeah, it's important. It's important to find that balance. I think that if you had my level of intensity or enthusiasm for things, we would probably be at odds a lot more so. And so I do think that is an important thing, to find somebody who's compatible, the yin to your yang, in other words, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that being said, yeah, we have been absent for a period of time. And I think it's more or less just that hadn't felt super motivated to come on and share. And it's not that we haven't been doing things. It's not that there hasn't been a lot of things happening here on the homestead as normal. It's just a lack of, I guess, motivation to come on and to do the weekly live. So
I would say for me, we've had a lot of automotive difficulties, if it's just repairs, smogs, breakdowns, what have you in there, that has kind of emotionally got me not prepared to come on and want to do a live.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's a big part of it too. Just having something that you're passionate about and you feel motivated to do. Anytime you're doing something, you should have passion and you should be motivated. And if there's any kind of a demotivation in that sense, I think it's completely appropriate to step back. And in our case, we do this because we enjoy it, not because we feel an obligation to our constituents, our sponsors, or this is our part of our livelihood. It certainly hasn't been any of that. It's just been an opportunity for us to come on here and maybe share some things with the community that, supports us here on the channel at Porterhouse and Teal Live. But yeah, we've been super busy. We're transitioning into winter around here, which is really quite nice. We've had several storms. Things are really greening up around here. Mm-hmm. I can recall years past where we were into Thanksgiving and everything was still dry and still brown. And typically I like to light a burn pile at Thanksgiving. And that's always been like a Johnson family tradition here while we've done Thanksgiving. And last year we didn't do Thanksgiving. So I've got a humongous pile out there ready to be lit. And hopefully this year we'll be able to do that, given the fact that burning restrictions have been lifted and things are green around here, which always makes it look nice, but it also reduces that fire hazard. And hopefully we'll be able to burn the pile.
I believe our intro is a Thanksgiving light off of a burn pile.
It absolutely is. So yeah, I think we're expected to get a little bit more rain this evening. And yeah, I'm welcoming all the change in the season. But yeah, we've been pretty busy. And as Rebecca had alluded to, this has been for us the year of the vehicle. It has just been one thing after the next. And it's been quite something, I would say. Would you not?
I would say so. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in one of the episodes, we talked about things lingering around the house and holding on to them instead of getting rid of them. I'll use them one day. I'll use that. In our case, there are many things that we have been starting to weed through and get rid of. But we have had a car that we bought in 2005. And we could have used it for a trade-in, but they offered us very little money.
How much? $200.
$200 they offered this car. And primarily because of the mileage. It was just under 300,000 miles.
No, it was significantly less. It was actually, we've put a lot of miles on it.
This is true. It was probably close to 260 something.
Yeah, maybe.
Around there.
Yeah.
But we opted to use it as a vehicle for our animals to ride in. And it has gone for quite some time, well more than $200, well more. And then the miles got up.
She got a new car in 2016, right?
2016. And we continue to use that car for quite some time. But that car now has sat for 4 years. It not only sat for 4 years, but out in the sun, no coverage, just baking, never being started, no nothing.
Right. Yeah, no, it had basically been non-operational. I think we had a non-op certificate put on it in 2022. And primarily the reason we stopped driving it at that time, because the tires, we needed to put new tires on it. And we're like, we don't want to put money in the tires. So it's just, as Rebecca was indicating, it's just sat there.
So he said 2022, which means that would be 3 years. However, the car had been sitting. We insured it and paid the registration, but nobody was driving it.
Right, for four. For absolutely 4 years. And
So anyway, we had car difficulties and I needed a vehicle to drive. Eric goes down and buys a battery, puts it in this poor car that's been baking in the sun. And didn't take too much, right?
No, it turned over like basically for like 3 seconds, and then it fired right up. And I was absolutely blown away because I put 5 gallons of gas in it. I tried to drain what was in the tank out, but it was so low that I really didn't even have to drain anything. So I put 5 gallons of gas in it, put a battery in it, got inside, turned the key, and it was like pop, 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 and it started right up. And I was just like, this is amazing. Yeah, they almost don't make them like that anymore. I don't know. It's a 2005.
It's a 2005.
So it's a 20-year-old vehicle. It's got 91,000 miles on it.
Yes.
Right. And so she just went down and got it smogged yesterday.
He hands me the keys and he says, here you go. Drive it to go get some tires on it.
Yeah.
And one of the tires really looked like the rubber was just going to blow off if I drove it anywhere. But I held my breath. I made it to the tire shop.
Yeah. No. I think that's one of those instances where prepping pays off, guys, because who can, when they need to, go out and just say, well, I'm going to see if that'll run. And lo and behold, it runs. But that was our $200 car they wanted to give us money for that is working to this day. So that's a fantastic story of preparedness.
Well, yeah. So now I got new tires, got the oil changed in it. I went to try to register it. And they said, well, you have to have a smog. I took it to the smog shop and I'm thinking, this car is not going to pass smog. And it passed smog, flying colors, just no problem at all.
Yeah.
Took him not 10 minutes to smog the car.
Yeah. No, it's been a really good thing to hang on to. And we're constantly right now. I know myself personally, I'm working on throwing a lot of things away out there because I get in that mode where I look around and see all the things that I've got accumulated. And I just have to ask myself the question, am I reasonably going to use that? I guess you could hang on to it and say, yeah, I might somewhere down the road. But yeah, I've been throwing a lot of stuff away, but thankfully we didn't throw away the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's come in handy.
Oh, it has done its job and it continues to go. It's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that I've been excited about, and I thought I would mention for anybody who might be thinking about trying to compost, or if you have been composting at all, you would probably realize that this time of year is a fantastic time of the year, because what you have right now is the autumn leaves are falling and you still have grass to cut.
Mm-hmm.
And so not only do you have the grass, you have the brown, right? The carbon from the leaves, but you also have the nitrogen from the lawn clippings that you might be collecting as well. And I just think it's important, if you are somebody who's growing plants, if you're somebody who has a need to, grow the best plants that you can, one of the ways that you can do that is to keep the organic material that is produced right on your own property and turn that into something. Don't put that in the garbage can, or don't let the waste management company haul it off, when you can maybe build yourself a little compost box and incorporate that stuff, keep it right on your property, make a little bit of fertility for the soil and the plants that you're trying to grow. Right now is a fantastic time. We've got a lot of leaves to pick up out there, and I'm going to be picking up leaves continually for probably the next month. Mm-hmm. And those are all going to wind up going in the chicken yard for the most part. There are some in places where I'll burn, but the places where I can gather that up, I can take it to the chicken yard, and then that will eventually go back into the soil and, feed that soil life and hopefully feed the plants.
Speaking of chicken yard, we had a chicken that was just, well, I kind of thought she was dust bathing. She just kind of sat there for a bit. And I went to check to see if maybe she had an egg underneath there, because sometimes they don't make it to the nesting boxes. And tried to stand her up and she wouldn't stand up. So I was told not to make pets out of my chickens. I went and got her some water, and she was pecking at that and drinking the water. And I tried to give her a little food. Wasn't interested in the food, but was interested in the water. This poor chicken hung on for 4 days.
Oh, way longer than 4 days.
I mean, we would
longer.
go out. I swear every morning I would wake up and I would say that chicken has to have died during the night. There's just no way. And you'd get up and she'd be in the same spot, or roughly in the same spot, and still alive. Pick up that head.
Yeah, it was. It got to the point where I had to make the call and just put her down, because it's, at some point you realize this thing isn't gonna make it, or is not going to improve, and so it's like an inhumane thing to just keep trying to feed it and keep water. So I had to put it down, and yeah, it happens. It happens. But fortunately here, we've got a bunch of chickens that are going to be coming online soon. We've got 35 young pullets that are out there. And yeah, I think I'll probably make a video on that, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But maybe I'll get motivated to make a chicken yard video, letting those young chicks out. I always find that it's very interesting watching them all of a sudden go from a smaller space to now they've got this larger space of the chicken yard, and it's kind of fun to watch. So maybe I will make a video of that and let people check that out. But they've got a little bit more time, I think, in their smaller space, so that they can grow a little bit more size on them, so that they're not going to be getting out of the chicken yard.
You really think they would get out?
Oh, absolutely.
I think they're big enough.
No, absolutely they will. Because I've got some 4x4 openings in that cattle panel that they can some of the maybe not as bigger ones, they can get through there. And so I'm just going to give them a little bit more time. It won't take much more time, because we're still feeding them chick starter, which is like 18 to 20% protein. And anytime you're growing young birds, that's the best way to go in that initial phase, is to give them that higher protein feed. And they are really putting on some size, because it was noticeable just in the short period of time we were gone over the weekend. They just looked bigger in like three days of being gone. So, yeah.
So we have one of the oldest birds out there that when I go out to look for eggs or anything, she always ends up by my side. I don't know if she's like buttering me up because she knows her time is getting short, or if she's just really that friendly of a chicken.
She has no idea her time is short. I think she's buttering you up because she thinks she's going to get something from you.
But she comes and she gets like right every single day, gets up next to me, kind of squats down.
She likes you.
Oh yeah, this is my little pet.
Yeah.
And we have a little conversation.
Yeah. You want me to let you butcher that one?
No, I want you to let me keep that one.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe. I don't know. You have to like convince me. Maybe we can keep her as a pet. I don't know. But
she's pretty sweet because she lets the kids pet her too.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
well, we'll see. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, getting back to the composting I was talking about, I've been taking out wheelbarrow loads at this time of year, and I took 2 wheelbarrow loads out today to top dress in the orchard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking, man, these trees are looking so happy. And a lot of that is because of the continued application of all of that compost that I can continue to add to the drip line around all of those trees. And I think it's really important to do. You need to add organic material back into the soil.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really great way to do that, is to top dress, because if you think about it, that's what nature actually does. You have organic material in the forest falling to the ground, and it decomposes and it feeds all of the invertebrates and the microbiology. And that's why you have all that humus. And things want to grow in that because the soil is very rich and it's very healthy. That soil microbiome is very healthy. And if you can do that to the plants that you're trying to grow, particularly when they're young, I think it's just pays dividends. We just harvested the remainder of our pomegranates, and that pomegranate plant I got it for like $6, and now it's going on it's entering its 3rd winter. But the first winter, it was basically just a stick when I put it in, because I planted it in the fall, and it was in a 1-gallon container, and there was, nothing really on it. It was just a stick, like a whip. And then the next year it grew a little bit, a little bush. And so now it's actually, I've had to prune it because it was well above head height this year, and I kind of want to keep it down a little bit. So I topped it a bit, but we got some really nice pomegranates off that thing this year. I was quite surprised. And that was off of a 6-gallon investment. But partially that's due to the care that those plants have been getting in that space with the compost. And so I really think that if you have the opportunity to do a little composting, it's right now is a great time to do that with all of the leaves that you have. And now, from the standpoint of what leaves are going to give you, they are about 25 to 40 to 1. So the range from 25 to 1 to 40 to 1 is about what you're going to get from a carbon to nitrogen ratio. And that's like perfect. That is a perfect addition, especially if those leaves have been chopped. Like when I run over it with my mower, you're chopping that leaf structure so that it's not just like big leaves that are going to mat and then they're going to get anaerobic. So if you can mulch your leaves, that is a fantastic thing for the development of compost. And you add that 25 to 40, 25 to 1 or 40, in between that range, you're adding that to some grass clippings, which are going to be much higher carbon to nitrogen ratio. And like how you would want to set that up from the standpoint of how much green to how much brown, you're looking at 60. And this is a ballpark, you can vary this, but this is a really good place to start. It's 60% green. So you would have 60% of your mix being grass clippings. And then the other 40% would be your carbon element. And think about it like this too. You could also add like 40% of that, or excuse me. Yeah, 10% of that 40 could be something of, or excuse me, 10% of that 60 could be something like a higher nitrogen content, like an animal manure. So you could use, chicken manure or cow manure or something like that. You don't want to use too much of that sort of thing because it's going to, it's just going to be too hot. But it's what are you looking at?
Our little chicken, you're talking about manure, and our little chickens, they're putting out a fair amount of manure.
I know. I've got to clean that pit out. Actually, what I've been doing is actually just adding more carbon on top of it because I'll pull all that out when they have the ability to come out. But no, I was just pointing out that I think it's a really great thing that we've been able to do here. The chicken yard doesn't, for what I get out of it, I don't think it's as much work as I get out of it. I get a lot more out of it than the work that I have to put in other words, right? I'm just collecting material, I'm putting it in there, and then I'm kind of piling it up, and then it just stays in there for a period of time while the chickens kind of work it. And then over time, it's just decomposing, breaking down. And so by the time it comes out, it's really never more than like 6 months. That would be the earliest that it would come out, but typically it's 8 months and beyond where it starts being harvested.
Honestly, I never had chickens growing up, so I never really had too much exposure except for maybe an older sibling that had one or two or, a few of them running around the yard, but never did I ever take care of chickens or collect eggs or do any of that part.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say that ever since we've had these, I've actually enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I've listened to you always say that, they're such a dirty bird. And
they are.
I don't want chickens. I don't want chickens. But I've actually enjoyed them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're good. They're, I had a bunch of them when we were like, when I was a kid, we had chickens then. And then what happened is eventually the coop wasn't secured properly and we had predation on the chickens and my folks just kind of gave up on it and whatnot. But no, they're a great addition to a homestead for the bang for the buck, for the ease of handling. There's nothing more easy than a chicken to handle, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like with a cow, you need very tame animals or cattle handling equipment. And the average person, that's a significant investment.
It is.
In not only in time, but in feed, in labor, and all of that. When we raised our cows, we always had cows that were, now I'm talking about with my folks, when we were raising, that stock, we never had any wild cows. If they were high-headed, they had to go because we didn't have the ability to cowboy them. Whereas we would get up on with dogs and horses and, lariats and ropes and all that shit. No, we handled those animals. They were all halter broken, right?
Well, I think all of the ones that we've had together were basically the same way.
Of course.
All
yeah.
Pretty friendly, love to be scratched.
I'm not going to have a wild ass cow because they're, 12 to whatever, 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
A full grown female is going to be 1,200 pounds. And that's the female. The bulls can be upwards of a ton. That can kill you. So
yeah,
they need to, chickens are getting back to the point. Chickens are from the standpoint of if you're trying to get into raising some form of livestock that is going to benefit you, they're the best thing going, quite honestly, for that reason. Meat production, egg production, and then it's like easy come, easy go, right?
Mostly.
Oh, are you still stuck on the one you want to keep and make into a pet? Do you have a name for it yet?
Yes, because she's got that bubble in her foot, and our daughter told us it's called Bumblefoot, so I just call her Bumble.
Okay. Bumble.
That's how she got her name.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, I've been working out there, and I mean, we've been busy. We've been doing stuff. We just haven't, and I apologize if that's something that anyone's looking forward to is the content, but we just haven't felt the need to feel obligated to do that. But
well, I don't know if it's that, or we just had a lot of circumstances coming up that kind of kept us from coming on.
Mm-hmm.
Our minds were definitely focused on taking care of other business.
Right. No, that's a completely understandable. At least I hope that would be understandable to folks. But yeah, I just finished, I would say, my last race of the year. And now this is a race that I've run 3 times, I've now run it 3 times, but I had run it twice before. And I got a free entry into this race. So it was kind of hard for me to turn it down. And it's called Rio del Lago 100-mile endurance run. And so it's kind of local to us here. It's a few hours south down around the Sacramento area. And yeah, it was something I couldn't turn down. And so it aligned with my goals of having somewhat of an easier 100 to close out the year, because I ran a tougher mountain 100, mid-year, and met my goals there, which I was excited and happy about. And I had planned on running a race in Arizona called the Javelina 100, which I'd run before.
Mm-hmm.
However, yeah, things just didn't work out in that regard, and I had to get a refund on my race entry. But I wound up getting this entry. And so it really aligned well with my end of the year running goals. But yeah, I ran that race, felt good.
Mm-hmm.
It felt good. And I appreciate that you came up and were supporting me there, as always.
You're welcome. Always me and the dog.
Yeah. No, it was a good race.
Since our dog goes everywhere with us, if I'm running, Eric is taking part crewing. And so anyway, we shift back and forth with the dog, but Eric does primarily most of the running. So
yeah. So that was super good. I didn't meet my goal of going sub 24. That's always kind of a benchmark that a lot of people like to try to achieve in races, because they differentiate the award based on that. If you can run it in under 24 hours, usually you get a silver buckle, and then, you get like a bronze buckle if it's in between the 24 hours and whatever the cutoff is. So I wasn't able to meet that goal. I ran 24:31. So I was 31 minutes over.
You were close.
Yeah. But one of the things is I just couldn't run downhill. And I basically blew my quads up for some reason. I guess I just didn't train specifically enough. And so my quads were kind of destroyed by mile 30. So the last 70 miles of the race, they were pretty bad, and I couldn't run like I wanted to run later in the race, but I'm happy with how things came out there.
Well, you didn't say anything about it until about mile 76, and you were just like, "Oh, my legs are through."
Yeah. No, I was feeling it because I knew I had that big hill to run down. But anyhow, yeah. So, how are you doing, Rebecca, on all of your fitness goals? I know that you've had some roadblocks and whatnot, but
right. Well, we had the stitches, and I didn't want to take the chance of falling and ripping those open. Those have long since been out. And then, of course, we had vehicle problems and whatnot. And then your race that kind of caused me to lag behind on my fitness. So that is one of my goals that I need to get back into. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. Obviously, I don't put in as many miles as Eric does. I generally go anywhere from 4 to 6 and maybe 5 days a week when I'm actually back into it. So that's where I'm looking to try to achieve to. But one of the other things, other than fitness, is we made some pomegranate juice. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Man, if anybody has any good ideas on how to make that a little easier of a task, I would be all ears for that. Reach out, because if it's a pain in the ass, man. Right?
Kind of gets everywhere.
What I did figure out, and this just comes down to being smarter than the pomegranate. That's a struggle we have sometimes, is the thing we're trying to overcome. We just have to find a way to be smarter than the thing we're trying to overcome. But somebody had made a suggestion when I was looking it up, that in one of the best ways to separate the seed from the pomegranate, like fruit, is to do it underwater. So get yourself a bowl of water, and then you cut it in half first, and then you put the half underneath the water and you start working it. And then the seeds will pop out and go to the bottom. They'll sink. And then all that white shit that separates it, the membrane, that'll kind of float to the top, and it'll be easy to separate. And not only that, when you're doing it outside like we were yesterday on the counter, those little kernels are popping and they're squirting that red shit everywhere, getting it all over your, walls and everything on the floors. And then so that's something that attracted a bunch of ants. So again, you got to be smarter than the pomegranate, right? You got to outsmart the damn thing. So that was kind of a good tip. And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So maybe next year we'll do it underwater, right?
It was an adventure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so, okay. I actually learned that years ago. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but when doing habaneros, that's really a good thing to do, is to do them underwater. Because if you don't, you know how when you're bending an orange peel, that shit squirts out, the oil.
Mm-hmm.
It's much the same way when you're cleaning a habanero. It not only gets all over your hands and everything, which you're not going to avoid that unless you're totally gloved up, but that stuff's spraying everywhere, and it'll just the vapors of it will get on you, and it burns. So to do it underwater is kind of a good tip. And I should have maybe thought of that. But again, you have to be smarter than the pomegranate, which for some people like us, it's kind of hard sometimes. Yeah.
So one of the things that I will be doing is making some comfrey sap. We still have some comfrey leaves out there.
Yeah.
And I'll be making that.
Yeah. I wanted to get some more of that made, because once comfrey goes into dormant, into the winter, it goes into a period of dormancy, and then the leaves die off, and you don't have leaves until the spring again. So given the fact that we still have plenty of comfrey leaves out there, I thought it would be a good time in order for that to occur. And I guess just mention that we do still have comfrey for sale on the site. Mm-hmm. If in fact somebody is interested in that, reach out and we'll hook you up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that I talked about wanting to do much earlier was have some meals prepared that's frozen, so that if we do have a long day, instead of coming in and attempting to make dinner at 6:00 and it being ready at 8:00, being able to pull that out and just microwave it and have that as a backup.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll be working from here to the end of the year, preparing some meals and getting those frozen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I've also I'm expecting to get a new bike. You know, I collect bikes.
He's supposed to sell the bike before he got his second road bike, but that didn't exactly happen.
Well, this isn't a road bike. This is an indoor trainer.
Yes, but that's not the agreement we had.
I
The
know.
agreement was that you're going to sell the first road bike that you bought,
Yeah,
so that you could get the second one because
right.
it was an
But
upgrade.
but I got two of those.
But you said, but maybe I'll just hold on to it and make it a stationary bike. Well, that never happened.
I was going to make it a gravel bike, but I need to.
You initially were going to make it a stationary bike.
I know it's on Craigslist. I'm just waiting for the right buyer to approach me on it. Yeah, I'm trying. But hey, thank you for the early Christmas gift. I do think that investing into one's fitness is one of the best things we can do. And so I think primarily the reason that I wanted to do this is because I'm getting older and I'm a little bit more less inclined to want to get out there and ride on the roads, man. I see some people getting messed up on them bikes, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because unfortunately, folks just do not pay attention. They're on their phone, they're distracted, and it's just not okay. I don't want to get, I like riding, but I don't like riding enough to go out and get killed for it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're fortunate that we have a street that basically runs just across the street from our driveway. So from our front door to the very end of that house, their front door is exactly a mile. And they have property and have a great big looped driveway. And so they're very sweet and allow me to run all over their property as well as back to the house. So I can get my mileage in without being without having to deal with the traffic or anything. So I'm in a safe space. And then the neighbors, it's actually kind of nice because the neighbors get used to seeing me and they're waving and tell me good morning.
Yeah, I think it's important to know your neighbors and get out there and see them. And it's great. I'm glad you're doing that.
Well, I haven't for a couple weeks, but I will get back to it.
Yeah, it's up to you. I mean, it's your health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what else is going on? How are you managing your time, Rebecca?
Well, you know how I am when we leave, and I like to have the house clean because when I come in, I like to walk in and the house be clean instead of walking in and feeling like, oh, I got a clean house. So that is basically how I start my days. When we get up, if I'm brewing coffee, I'm doing dishes, getting that going. And I just kind of multitask and get the house cleaned up. And when you've got a dishwasher going and a washing machine going, both of those take just about equally the amount of time, which frees up time to go out and get an hour of fitness in.
Mm-hmm.
So I can squeeze that in and come back. And for me, it's really nice because I can get everything accomplished other than cooking dinner, everything accomplished pretty much by afternoon. And then my day can start to slow down a little bit.
Mm. Yeah. I'm much the same way in that I tend to be more of a motivated morning person. You know, obviously people are different in the way that they approach and structure their day. And for us, we are at a fortunate position in our life where we can set the tone of our day as we want it to be. We don't have to get up and take kids to school. We don't have to get up and go to a 9-to-5 job. This is our 9-to-5 job. But that being said, we still have a lot of things that need to be done. It's not like, oh, we can just get up and, some days if we don't feel like doing shit, we could just like say, we're not going to do it. That doesn't mean that the things that need to happen on the homestead stop. There's still animals that need to be fed. There's still, chores that are going to accumulate if you don't actually do the thing. And so that's typically how I like to do my day is get up and start doing my mobility and flexibility routine, which is generally 20 minutes while I'm drinking my coffee and eating my yogurt. And then I'll get up and I'll probably go do my run after anything that needed to be done on the homestead could be looked at and or managed. And then I have the rest of the day to work on projects. And there's always projects. There's always things to do, man. I mean, I was out pruning today and pinning up the canes for next year's crop of berries. And that's going to be an ongoing process as I'm out there pruning trees and pruning vines and selecting the vines for which I want to have fruit on. Because I was tying up a boysenberry today. And I've got some really nice canes out there. We're going to have a lot of nice fruit on that. But I planted that last year. And of course, with these types of berry vines, as with most berry vines, the canes that they put out the year, like this year's canes that they put out with all the new growth, you're not going to get any fruit bearing on that. That'll be next year's growth. And then those will have fruit on them. And those will get pruned next year, this time, while I'm pinning up the ones that grew from this year. So it's like a biennial. And so there's just always something to do on the homestead, is there not?
There's always something to do. In my case right now, I am working very hard on the pool. I had to let it go. And that is not a good thing to do because pools turn green quite rapidly. But anyway, like I said, we had incidents with vehicles coming up, Eric's race, and I had to kind of turn a blind eye to the pool. So that is one of the things that I have to get up and get cleaned up. And then once the weather is cold, it's pretty nice because you really don't have to add any chemicals just because it's cold. So nothing grows in it.
Right. Yeah. So how are the chickens laying? What do we have out there for numbers? How many chickens do we have, and how many eggs a day are we getting? Because these are now 3-year-old chickens.
Right. We have 23 birds.
You sure? Didn't we just kill one? Isn't there 22?
So there might be 22.
Yeah.
There might be 22. And we are getting anywhere from a bad day would be about 13 eggs, and a good day would be 16 eggs. Now, 16 eggs probably happens maybe once a week.
Yeah. But you're still meeting your target goal of selling 5 dozen a week?
I actually sell 6 dozen a week.
6 dozen right now? Yeah, so that's good. So the girls are still earning their keep, which is going to be interesting when these new birds come online, because they are going to be very voracious. They are going to be very vigorous, which I'm looking forward to, quite honestly, because the old girls just don't scratch compost like they used to. They're lazy, man.
They really are into their dust baths.
Yeah, well, they're always going to do that, but
which is a mind blower to me because I'm human.
You take baths.
I take baths. I don't throw dirt up on my back.
You should try it. Yeah. No, yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So that's not bad. These Novagens are really pretty prolific egg layers. And I tell you what, if we have 35 birds next year, we're going to be having like 30 eggs or thereabouts this time of year.
I don't think we'll have a problem selling them.
No, that's good.
Because we give as much as we can to the deli, and they still purchase some eggs. So I'm sure that they would actually, if we had the eggs to give, I'm sure that they would increase the amount.
Right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I guess if
and they love them because they said that the eggs that they buy are a little less expensive than our eggs. However, they are half the size.
Yeah, that's no good. So half the size is never really any good when you're talking about egg size.
Our
So,
girls lay some pretty big eggs.
yeah, they're jumbos for the most part, right? Some of them are smaller than 73 grams, but
And
most
then
of them are that and larger.
every now and then there's a little freakish,
Yeah.
dinky, looks like a robin egg.
Yeah. The anomaly. Yeah. We get those. We get those for sure. I got to probably be putting out because we're supposed to be getting a little bit more rain tonight. So I think I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put out some organic fertilizer that I have that's low in nitrogen, but it has a pretty good balance of phosphorus and potassium. Right now, this time of year, you don't want to be putting out too much in the way of nitrogen. You're not looking for a bunch of growth. However, the compost that I put out, it has a decent amount of nitrogen in it, but it's pretty slow release, and I'm putting it in on the top of the soil.
Mm-hmm.
So it's top dressing and it's, getting leached in by the rain. So it's not like it's giving the plants an overabundance of any of that. But yeah, I've got to go out and do a little bit more of that because we are expecting some rain. So
which is welcome.
Yeah, busy. Yeah.
There's always plenty to keep us moving.
Yeah.
During the day. Yeah.
So I was thinking about something. I thought, maybe I'll start playing the lottery again. Did you know that I used to play the lottery?
A long, long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, what I had done, and the reason why I did, the likelihood of you actually winning the lottery is kind of a waste of money and a waste of time for most people. But I had the thought process that if you don't play, you could never win. And so what I did is since in California at the time, they had two draws. They had one like bid week, and then the other one was over the weekend sometime, where they would do the balls in the thing, and the balls would go up, and they'd draw, I don't know, 6 numbers and a bonus number or something like that, right? And so what I'd do is I would have the machine pick my numbers. So it would just be some random set of numbers, and I would say this is for the next 8 draws. And so basically for the next month, I would have those numbers at each draw twice a week. So I would get 8 draws out of that. It would cost me $8 a month. And I thought, fuck, $8 a month, man. I spend so much on everything else. So I mean, what's $8 a month? I figured, and I just kind of gave up on it after a while. But I was thinking, it'd be kind of cool to win, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah. So I guess what I was thinking about is that would almost be like a Homestead dilemma, if you will, if you won the lottery. Let's just say, Rebecca, that I happened to hit the lottery, and it was like $100 million.
Yeah.
And we decided to take out, in some kind of a lump sum or whatever. And that lump sum was, let's say, $50 million.
I honestly think that's the smartest way to go, is to take it in a lump sum.
Yeah, it probably would be. What I was going to propose to you is, what would be the first thing that you would buy? What would be let me ask you this. Let's do it this way. Would you tell anybody about it other than me?
I would prefer not to.
So you wouldn't tell our kids? Would you tell your children?
I would tell my children. I would tell my children because there's certain things in their lives that I would actually like to pay off.
Okay. I think that's a real consideration that one would have to cross. And it's easy to sit here because it's just a hypothetical. It's just a fantasy to think about. But if it actually happened to you, it would be something that you would really seriously have to consider. And I've considered it, and I would say that I wouldn't tell them.
You wouldn't tell them?
No.
See, I don't know if I would tell them how much.
I suppose you could, But you have to understand, if you want to keep this secret, you can't tell people about it, right? Because the implications of telling people about it is how much differently people will respond to you.
Right. But in doing that, you would have to not change your...
And that's not to say that your family, who you're very close with, is going to do that per se. But there's a high likelihood that it's not going to stay with just them, because they have spouses. So they would have to be sworn to secrecy that they wouldn't talk to their spouse. And then once one person knows, everybody fucking knows. That's the point. Once one person knows, everybody in the town knows. Oh, did you hear? So-and-so won the lotto, $50 million. And then that secret you thought you had, and that level of anonymity with your newfound wealth, it's out the window, man. So you would have to have complete confidence that your children's spouses wouldn't be getting told. And if they were told, you have any idea that they wouldn't go, hey, I got a secret. Guess what? So I wouldn't tell fucking nobody but you. You know who else I would tell? Who'd be the first person I would call?
Whom?
Who would you call? Who'd be the first person?
I don't know. I don't know who I would.
See, this isn't something that she's had to think about a lot. And I wouldn't say that I give it much thought either, but just in a hypothetical situation, you kind of have to think this way, like, what would I do? It's a fantasy, right? Everybody thinks about, what would I do if I had $1 million?
But if you didn't want anybody to know or suspect that there was something different, you would have to not change anything in your lifestyle.
That's not necessarily true. I mean,
you could slightly, but you're not going to pull up in a Maserati when you've been driving a Ford Focus.
Yeah, but why would you want to pull up in a Maserati? Is that what you want? You want to show that kind of bling?
I'm just comparing the two.
Yeah, no.
You would have to somewhat keep your lifestyle.
You would.
Pretty moderate, pretty close to what it is that you have now.
Yeah, to some extent, I would agree. But that's not to say that people need to know what your finances are, right? People don't know what our bank account is. And we live the lifestyle we live. And they can make assumptions about a lot of shit. But if we decided, hey, we wanted to buy something exorbitant, they can also still go, maybe they kept, maybe they invested wisely. That doesn't mean you won the lottery.
Or they'll look at us and go, they're going to be in debt for a long time.
Yeah, why are those hillbillies driving a Maserati? Look at those fucking rubes driving a Maserati. Who are they trying to fool? Yeah, no. Who the first person you'd call? I know who I'd call. Who would you call? Besides me.
Besides you?
Yeah. This is quite the dilemma, guys. This is a dilemma.
It is, because you'd have to secure that. So I'm not sure how to go about it, but you would have to be able to invest or secure that money in some fashion. Mm-hmm. So it would be somebody along that line.
Absolutely. That's who I would call. Somebody who's, it's not their first rodeo dealing with people like this. Somebody with a financial and legal background that can make, very good suggestions on how you should proceed, because this would be a really big thing for the average person. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you've got $50 million. Well, okay, that's cool. Now what? You could really invest wisely, and it would wind up blossoming. Mm-hmm. Now let's just take it another direction. Let's just say you had one splurge that you wanted to have, with that $50 million, what would be the first thing that you would buy?
I don't know. Again, it would have to be,
because you have everything you need and want in life. Maybe you want a new pair of shoes, maybe a new pair of dungarees or something. You've got it all. A new vacuum cleaner.
Oh,
Because the one you just bought's a piece
I
of
don't
shit.
know if we discussed the vacuum cleaner that I had, but I had an it was a Hoover. It was pretty old. It was pretty nice. You know, it could clean carpet or just
Like linoleum, flat surfaces.
flat surfaces.
Yeah.
Did great. Cleaned out my cars wonderful. No problem at all. So anyway, it broke after many, 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 many years. And I ordered one of which I anticipated was going to be quite the same. No. It's cheap. It's really cheap.
Do you think that so it's the same company? Was it a Hoover?
It's a Hoover.
Do you think that that's just a sign of the times in that?
Absolutely.
In what way?
Absolutely. Because I believe that it is the same, only years later, made with cheaper plastic, cheaper everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Now,
but anyhow, I would go ahead. Were you going to say something?
I was going to say here in California, beautiful California.
We love California,
and we do
so much we won't even leave.
When I was grocery shopping, not only in Walmart, but I really dislike Walmart, but anyway, in Walmart,
China.
But yes, also in Rayleigh's, I noticed that there were no longer plastic bags. They were all paper.
Yeah.
I meant to look into that to see if that was a fluke because they just couldn't get their hands on plastic bags, or if that is...
have you looked into it?
I did not. I did not.
Okay.
Or if that was the direction California is going in.
Well, I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyhow, getting back to the scenario that I was talking about.
You're just not going to let me drive away from that, are you?
No. What would you get? What would you spend your money on? One thing. If you one splurge, what would be that first splurge?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. What would you splurge on?
I would probably purchase property.
Yeah?
Yeah, of some sort. Not especially or not particularly like raw land or anything, but property that could be something that could either be rented out or used or what have you. Because I think there's just so much value in land and what sits on that land. And, reasonably it's because of, it's just a finite thing, right? They're not going to make more land. There's only so much land on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you see very rich people like a Bill Gates or, Bezos or any of these guys, they own a lot of land. And that's very smart. They didn't become as rich as they are by being fucking stupid, by spending their money unwisely. And so that's an interesting thing because what I was seeing about all of these, and I saw this a few weeks ago, and what was striking to me was all of these companies that are going to be laying off workers. I asked the question, which companies are going to be downsizing because of the advent of and the use of AI? And all of the companies that you might suspect that are very successful, Tesla, Amazon, Meta, there's a bunch of them that I'm not naming right now, but those type of companies. And I was just thinking, boy, how brilliant on their part, because they're visionary. They understand this is what needs to happen in order for them to be successful moving into the future. Because why I'm saying that is because you look at the companies that were not visionary, like Kodak Eastman. Oh, gee, we didn't see the digital revolution being a thing. We thought we were always going to develop pictures. And now where's fucking Photomat? Where's Kodak? It's gone. Any of these other companies that were not forward thinking, they're in the dustbin of history. But yet these were legacy businesses and legacy companies that were around for 100 years or more, like all of them. And it's mind-boggling to see these behemoths and these Goliaths go down, but it's because of the leadership not having the vision to say, oh, we need to like be ahead of this thing. And so when I just saw, what was it, like a week or so ago, where they were talking about all these layoffs, UPS and all these, they're laying all these people off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of the digital revolution, or excuse me, not the digital revolution, but just the AI revolution that's happening. It's a part of the fourth industrial revolution, which people are going to really start to feel here very quickly because of all of this sort of thing. Pretty interesting, would you not say?
Mm-hmm.
But these are the people that are smart. And I would follow their lead on that. I'd say, man, maybe some property would be good, right? Because I could go out and buy a Maserati, but nobody would believe it. They'd be like, come on, dude.
He stole that.
You didn't invest in that well. But anywho.
I think maybe if I was younger, I would have come up with the idea of doing land, but and there's nothing wrong with it now, but you have to take care of it, or you could have
somebody do that for you.
Something.
Property manager. Yeah. If you had that kind of money, you could easily hire somebody to be the caretaker, the overseer, the whatever of that property. And then you could also rent it out to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You could turn it into a business of some fashion, and you could have somebody managing that for you remotely. You don't have to live there. It could be in Montana, or it could be in another place altogether. And it's just something that is an investment property. That would be super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyhow, I think that's quite the dilemma, but I think you handled yourself quite well there. It's not that big of a dilemma if you think about it.
Yeah.
So should I start playing the lottery again?
That's up to you.
Okay.
But here's my one question. If you win the lottery,
mm-hmm.
You're not going to leave me, are you?
No. Why would I do that?
Well, you'd be rich.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Look who would want to be at your side. Anybody.
Well, that's true. A lot of it's an interesting phenomenon, isn't it?
The person didn't have to have gray hair.
Well, isn't that an interesting phenomenon? The more powerful and connected you are, it makes you more of a valuable commodity for people who are, I guess, giving you something in return.
What are they giving you?
Well, when you look at old dudes that are established with money, how is it that they attract young, very fertile women? How is that? Isn't that an interesting phenomenon? What would you say the exchange is there? They're getting lavished with gifts from these older, more well-established men, and what do those men get in return? Do they get a younger, better-looking, more sexually attractive wife or girlfriend or arm piece or whatever? That's the exchange.
It's the arm candy.
Yeah, it's the exchange. But isn't that an interesting phenomenon?
So should I go out and get a little bit of face work done if you win the lottery and color my hair so that I can?
I like your hair like it is. It's nice.
Yes, but if you're a millionaire, you may not.
Oh, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Yeah. But anyhow, I was thinking this just on the cuff. I hope that people can start to think about what's going to be taking place here in the future, potentially. Because I know that I personally have more of a sense of ease, if you will, just given the political climate currently, with no longer the lockdowns and all the other bullshit that was going on, the censorship and everything. I mean, things have really kind of changed in another direction. And I think the majority of the American people are very much in favor of freedom of speech and freedom of choice, and kind of live your life according to how you want to live it, and don't have other people telling you what you should or can't, or, you know, just people want to just live their lives. And I think we're kind of at that point now, at least kind of reversing what took place in 2020 and 2021. That was a kind of an interesting, well, not even interesting, more of a scarier period of time.
Yes.
From the government overreach. And I get the sense that we're not so far removed from that, where a change in leadership at the top would kind of reverse that feeling and reverse the direction of where we're headed politically in the country, you know, overnight, because a lot of what's done has been done with Trump and his administration has been through executive action.
Right.
Nothing's being codified constitutionally. And so I think it'd be very easy for somebody to come in on day one and to upend all of the things that have been done and put in place new policies that are so counter to the climate and the I guess just the tenor of the country right now. And I think that a lot of people kind of have relaxed and we're back to normal and kind of, you know, things are, you know, we're back or whatever. But make no mistake about it, the other side is continually trying to do what they can to regain power. And I think what happened in this last little election, this special election thing that happened with the communist in New York City and a lot of the other minor races that were taking place that people were talking about, I have no idea about them. I wasn't paying attention at all. But in kind of listening to the post-mortem of this past election thing, it was kind of a drubbing. People, you know, the Republicans got their asses handed to them. And whether that's because of a lack of enthusiasm from the right, a certain sense of apathy, and just, I'm not going to show up to vote because fuck it, I don't care. Or there was cheating, which, you know, maybe that happened too.
Or a combination of both.
Or a combination of all of that. And I really think that that's kind of how it goes, where I think you're going to get a combination of all of that, especially moving into the midterms. And if people don't get motivated to come out, which I got to be honest, I'm not really that motivated to come out and vote. Maybe I should be. But at the same time, I'm a little bit not fucking thrilled with how things are going from the standpoint of the overall thing with how things are going right now. Right? I don't know. What would you say that the report card, Rebecca? We haven't done a report card in a while, so let's just shoot one off the cuff here. Report card for Trump and his whole thing, his administration. Give me a grade.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stay at a C-, which is where I believe I left at. And the reason why I'm giving that is because I have not listened to what's going on lately. So I'm not abreast of everything.
Okay. So you just kind of like, yeah, it's whatever.
So
you're disengaged.
I'm not raising him because it's not like there's something out there saying, oh, hey, look, this is happening. That's a positive, but but he has done some stuff, so I'm not going to put him down in an F.
Yeah.
So, I'm staying probably right at about a C minus.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's done. I think he's done a lot of things. The unfortunate part about it, I think, is that I don't think Trump's been enough of a mover and an influencer within his own party. He's running his White House. He's got his cabinet and he's doing all kinds of fucking shit over in other places and flying around and shaking hands with people and making deals and all this other stuff, which is great, right? That's what you're supposed to do. But as a leader, I think you should herd the cats. And the cats are the people within his party that he got elected. A lot of the people that are in the Senate that got a seat there, they got reelected or elected for the first time, both in the House and the Senate, it's because of Trump. They were on the down ballot. People showed up to vote for Trump. And he needs to remind them of that so that he can get some shit done. Because guess what? He hasn't gotten a goddamn thing done but the big, beautiful bill. And some other little minor things that are like a whatever. Some trade deals, which, again, on day one, that can be all fucking undone when Gavin Newsom comes in there. So I would give Trump about a D minus. Now, I would say on that issue, I would give him a D minus because he has not been an influencer. I don't hear him that he's going to Capitol Hill, getting on these people saying, hey, you need to do this, this, and this. Guess what? He's got the presidency, the executive branch, the Senate, and the House. And if you want to say it's conservative leaning in the Supreme Court, you wouldn't be wrong. So this is the opportunity for them to get some things actually meaningfully done. And he hasn't fucking done it, in my eyes. Because a very popular issue within this country was cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. But he ran Elon Musk out of there by listening to all of his advisors telling him, hey, this fucking dude's got to go. And so they socked him in the eye, gave him a black eye, and told him, get the fuck out of here. Richest guy in the world that just donated $100 million to help get me elected. So I think that right there is a big, big flag for me. Mm-hmm. Why would you not want to cut waste, fraud, and abuse? Why would you not want to herd the cats and say, this is a winning issue? We want to restore that back to Washington. But there's no effort on his part to do that. Why? Because he's part of the fucking swamp. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Where's the impetus to try to?
He seems to be going with them, but again, you don't know the restraints that are being put on him. Even though he's president, seems like he should be able to override all of this. You would think.
Yeah. Yeah. To your point, you know, I'm not sitting in that seat. I don't know all the pressures and the stresses and all of the things of the office that he knows. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm making purely an observation from somebody who voted for him based on what we were led to believe he was going to deliver on. But yet there's not the willingness for the people that have the power now. So what I foresee actually taking place is you're going to see this in the next midterm. People are not going to be excited about showing up to vote. And then you're going to see the House and or the Senate lose seats, possibly tilting toward the left, turning either of those institutions Democratic as far as the power balance. And essentially you'll have Trump being a lame duck fucking president for the last 2 years of his presidency. When right now he has the power to get some things done, but he can't get John Thune, the leader of the Senate, that fucking rhino, and Mike Johnson, that weak, impotent fool, to get anything passed. So what they need to do, because this is what the Democrats would do, is they need to just do the filibuster, or not the filibuster, but the nuclear option. Right? They need to do the nuclear option because the Democrats would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is a stalemate. We can't get things put through with like less than 60 votes. Well, guess what? We're going to do, because the government shut down and we need to get some things done. Perfect opportunity to do that, but they haven't done that. It's interesting. Another interesting thing is the whole Epstein thing. That goes, for me, that notches him down a number in my eyes. Right? Does that not bother you that we've got a situation where there may be, in fact, there probably is, I think there's probably pretty good evidence that there were children that were trafficked to important and powerful people within this country, whether that was from or on behalf of an intelligence agency or what have you. Those people were basically given underage females to abuse and to sexually assault, to threaten, to coerce, essentially raping children. And we're supposed to be just like looking the other way because Kash Patel says, oh, no, there's nothing to see here. When we know that that's not true, because what was already stated and what's already been entered into evidence. But we're just supposed to like, oh, you still talking about that? Yeah, let's just move on. Let's send some more money over to Israel because, they deserve taxpayer funded whatever.
Yeah. Being on the outside and looking at all of that, and you're looking at it, and I would take it much the same way as you, that it's wrong. I don't know why we don't clean up our own country before we're ever take interest in anybody else's country, because we've got our own set of problems. And of course, there were the Epstein files that they had suggested or had said that they were going to expose, and they didn't.
Well, it's a cover-up is what it is.
It is.
It's not even an attempt to expose it. It's a cover-up at this point. Well, but go ahead.
Okay, so do you think that Trump is involved, or that he is not letting it out because he is protecting somebody else? Or is it possibly a combination of the both?
I think it's a high possibility that it's a possibility of both. Obviously, he's protecting others. The real question is whether or not he's implicated in this and he's in any kind of a list, or there's any kind of video evidence or what have you of him being with underage girls. And I would say, if I had to guess, I would say it's both. You don't become that close to somebody. You don't associate that closely with somebody hanging out in nightclubs, pointing at, like he's dancing and, all this other bullshit. Trump was he had the Miss America pageant, which was Miss Universe and Miss Teen USA. Mm-hmm. It's a fertile breeding ground. There's no secret that Trump likes women. I mean, who doesn't? That's like a male. That's like a real male, not some.
Glad you clarified that.
Not some beta male or a homosexual, but a real male. I mean, women are great, right? So I get that from that standpoint. That doesn't mean that he was like a part of that. I'm just saying, if it looks like a duck, it's a good chance that it could be a duck. Mm-hmm. And I don't know anything. I'm just saying that's my feeling on it. And I don't know if that even matters, but that's why his grades get knocked down, is because, it's a cover up. Everybody can see it.
Yes. Everybody knows that it went on and that there was abuse to young women.
Yeah.
And that's obvious. I mean, that's not even a guessing game. That's obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah, the rest of it is, you might as well just expose it all unless you're implicated in it. Or he's got somebody very close. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't either. But anyhow, it'll be interesting to see what happens because, things are definitely changing as far as the power balance. And I think it's partly due to people's disinterest in the whole process. They're a little frustrated with what they see. The ineffectiveness of our government to actually work on behalf of the American people. And it's all about power and how they can gain more power at the expense of everybody else. Hey, man, you need to pay more. You need to pay more taxes because you know what? We've got to send money elsewhere for people that aren't even entitled to have it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make things okay for those that are in this country that don't even have a right to be here. But you know what? We need to provide for them too. I don't think most people are with that.
I would say the majority of the people are not.
Right. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I think this past election, this Prop 50 thing, which if in fact it stands, because that's something that is essentially redrawing the districts in California. It's probably not a big deal to anybody outside of this state. But for us, that basically, we won't have any representative. We won't have a representative in Washington. It'll be some fucking liberal. Mm-hmm. Because of the way they've redrawn the map. The entire North State, which has always been red, has always been conservative, will be fucking deep blue. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's actually being challenged in the courts, but who knows if it's actually going to get overturned. I hope that it does, but
and how long is it going to take?
Exactly. So yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how it goes. I'm not trying to get too worked up or too worried about it, but it is interesting to see because I just globally just seeing what you see. There's more of this shit coming, and I think that it's important that people not let their foot off the gas and to still continue to do what they need to do while things are somewhat good. Because if Newsom gets in, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, make sure you have your supplies, keep them backed up.
You know what they're planning on doing that I heard, and this will probably go through. So what they're going to do is they're going to charge you based on mileage driven. So no more gas tax or whatever the tax is, right? For the highways, it'll be based on miles driven. So that's how you'll get taxed. And so one of the reasons why they're doing that is because of they want to get in on the electric car issue. See, electric cars don't pay a gas tax. Mm-hmm. And so, these fuckers are getting away with something. They're not paying tax to drive on these roads. So we're going to make it a miles driven issue. And you get taxed based on the number of miles you drive every time you fucking register your car. They're going to take the mileage and you'll be assessed a fee based on that. So do you agree with that or what?
Well, let those night creatures out because I'll do a lot less driving.
What are night creatures? What night creatures?
The homeless.
Oh, okay. I don't know how that has anything to do with anything. What are you talking about?
Because it makes it kind of scary at night to say, go to the store.
Oh, well, yeah.
So where before you wouldn't think about it twice, you'd hop in your car, go down, get the groceries you needed or whatnot, or anything you forgot. That's
a California problem. People that don't live here, they don't care about that.
Well, I'm speaking for myself. So for me,
yeah,
I prefer not to leave my house once it starts to get to dusk.
But because the night creatures are already out, so don't let any more out, right?
Right. Well, I'm saying that
everybody else should have night creatures too. You want to make it worse for everybody else?
No, I'm saying go ahead, charge me by mileage. I'll be driving a lot less miles is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we already drive pretty few anyhow, but nonetheless, they'll probably gig us on that. You're not driving enough miles, so we're going to assess a fee.
Probably.
That's right. car ownership, to own a car and to register it, you got to drive it. Who knows? Who knows?
Yep.
But anyhow, what do you think? You think we should wrap it up there? That was kind of a depressing little exchange, but I think it's it's just the way I see things. How do you see it?
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
And I keep my fingers crossed that Newsom does not get in, but it's looking closer and closer to that's the direction.
Well, I've been saying
it's going to. I know, but I had hopes that wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy about the guy.
Nobody is.
I never have been.
Nobody is.
And I honestly, there's just going to be some crazy cheating going on to get him in as president.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And if they're not engaged in the process here, in every place where they're doing voting, if there's not rigorous oversight, they're guaranteed to cheat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason that Trump won last time, is because they were so intent on making sure that cheating wasn't going on, because it happened during the Biden victory. That was a fucking unbelievable thing that took place. And then when it was like, hey, there it is right there. They're pulling shit underneath the desk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. You didn't see that. Can't even talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. Remember those times?
Uh-huh.
Crazy times. But anyhow, that's about all we have for this week, I think. Rebecca, what do you have to say, if anything, in closing?
Just pretty much what I'd said before. Keep up on your preps. Kind of doesn't look like it's going to get much easier. Doesn't look like the economy is going to get any better.
You don't think so? You don't think Trump's going to get it all together with everything he's got going on?
Well, I would love to say yes. However, he talks about how gas prices have come down, but have you noticed gas prices come down?
Not so much. Not here.
And well, not in California. I can only speak for California.
How about grocery prices? Are those coming down?
Grocery prices have not gone down. They are going up.
Really? Huh. I wonder what the cause of that is.
So if the one incident is that you like pumpkin seeds.
Uh-huh.
And to buy a bag of those, they were like $5.49, I think, like that. And they are now $8.49.
Yeah.
Same bag.
Yeah, but you know how that is. Individual items go up from time to time. They raise the price, they lower it. They
didn't lower it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's just one issue. But I mean, globally, would you say that cost of food has not gone down? Or
I can't speak globally.
I'm not talking about elsewhere. I'm talking about here in our town. When you shop, the global picture of the things that you buy, everything that goes into your shopping cart. That's what I mean globally, not just pumpkin seeds. Overall,
yes, average. I would say overall average. If it's something that is like something that people don't really like or buy that often, that might drop in price because it's not. But overall, yes, the prices of things gone up. Milk costs more.
Right. Coffee.
Butter costs more. Coffee costs more. Coffee was it would drop down to it would go on sale and it would be like $4.99.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're lucky if you can get it for $9.99.
Yeah. You know, what's an interesting exercise is just, go on Grok or ChatGPT and ask it, to get an equivalence between, what, say, $80,000 in 2000 was, or find out what you were making back then, and then find out, what you're making now. And maybe you think, oh, I've got, I'm making whatever you're making now, 100 and whatever, or less, or whatever your wages are. Mm-hmm. And then just kind of see where you are. Would your money back then bought you more in 2025, or would it bought you more in 2000?
Even better yet, go back then and look at the price of a car then and look at the price of a car now.
That's not the point. The point is what, that's not the point at all. The point is what were you making then? Right? Because of course it's going to be less then and more now. Inflation is a real thing. What I'm saying is like, has inflation kept up, or has your wages kept up with inflation? And so, you might think, oh, well, I'm making this today, but back then I was making this. Right? That's the thing you need to ask. And so it's pretty surprising, actually. Right? So anyhow.
I would say inflation is not keeping up.
No, inflation's keeping up. The wages,
not inflation. Wages are not keeping up with inflation.
Yeah, CPI. So anyhow, I think we'll wrap it up there. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, we hope to see you guys again sometime. We don't know when that will be. We're just dropping in here to share a few thoughts. And yeah, hope everybody has a great week and a great month and a great year moving forward. There's still a lot of time to get things done.
Yes.
And we're going to continue to try to push forward here on our end at the Homestead level.
And if we don't see you past Thanksgiving, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And there's still plenty of things out there to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Might have to look a little harder for them, but they're there.
Oh, I think they're right beneath our nose, right? Just being here and being on the right side of the dirt. That's something to be thankful for.
But hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, thanks for joining us, and go out tomorrow and be better than you.